Okay, the next thing that we need to talk about is dividing whole numbers by whole numbers with decimal quotients. So it's a doozy, but we need to, on your grid paper, you're going to write this. Divide whole numbers. You're going to have to write a little small because it's going to cover the whole top. With it's a lot. Okay, so building up from just dividing with remainders, and then dividing whole numbers by whole numbers and getting whole number quotients, and then dividing whole numbers by decimals, or vice versa. Dividing decimals by whole numbers. But now we got to add this step, because whenever we're dividing with decimals at all, we have to know that there are a tiny bit different rules at times that we have to follow. So we're going to put problems on this paper and solve them with these steps. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. My division problem is 180 divided by 8. Okay, so we're going to write 180 divided by 8. Okay, and I extended this for a reason, so you'll see. All right, so how we're going to do this today, as we'll walk through it, we're going to put our problem here, and we're going to write ourselves some notes on this side so that we know what we need to do. So I have 180 divided by 8. Now, 8 cannot go into 1, but it can go into 18 2 times. So 2 times 8 is 16. 18 minus 16 is 2. Okay, and remember from our notes, just with division from the other day, we're going to bring down my 0, bring down the next digit in your problem. Okay, the next digit in your dividend. Use the words, Ms. Collins. So now, how many times does 8 go into 20? Well, 8 times 1, 8 times 2, 8 times 3 is 24. It's too many, but 8 times 2 is 16. So watch this. Oh, no. Okay. And then 20 minus 16 is 4. And as I told you before, you cannot stop dividing until you have a remainder of 0. But here's the thing, we have nothing left in our dividend. So here's what we're going to say. When you run out of digits in your dividend, and you still have a remainder, you must add, I'm going to put in quotes because we're going to say this, decimal, comma, decimal, comma, 0. Okay, finish writing that down. I'll give you a second. And I'm going to tell you what this means when we say decimal, decimal, 0. Okay, so when I say decimal, decimal, 0, I'm going to bring in my red pen. You guys can do the same. And I'm bringing in this red pen to emphasize the change that makes this different from dividing whole number, decimal whole number, okay? So now, you put a decimal behind the last digit of your quotient. That's the first decimal. You put a decimal behind the last digit of your dividend, okay? That's your second decimal. Then you add a 0 right behind that second decimal because you need another digit in your dividend, and when we add it, that has to be a 0. So that's why we'll say this. I've done this in the past. You guys will know. Decimal, decimal, 0. When you run out of digits in your dividend and you still have a remainder, you must add decimal, decimal, 0. Okay? And then we're going to bring that 0 down. Okay? And then we continue. It's right as rain. Okay, how many times does 8 go into 40? 5 times. So 8 times 5 is 40. And then we have a remainder of 0. So we're good. Okay, so just note that. I'm going to highlight it, okay? But we're going to do another example, okay, because practice is what we need, right? Okay, let me pause here for 1 second. Okay, here's our next practice problem. We're going to do 65 divided by 8. I'm going to come down here. 65 divided by 8. Okay, so 8 does not go into 6, but it goes into 65 8 times. So 8 times 8 is 64. And then we have a remainder of 1. Look back up at these notes. When you run out of digits in your dividend, where I have, and you still have a remainder, which you do, decimal, decimal, 0. So decimal, decimal, 0. Okay, decimal, decimal, 0. Then we're going to bring that 0 down. All right, and then I'm going to continue on. 8 goes into 10 one time. 1 times 8 is 8. Subtract 2. But oh no, okay, this is a great way to think about this. Okay. You've already added your decimal, okay? Now, you still have a remainder. However, you will not add another decimal, okay? You cannot have more than 1 decimal in your quotient. You cannot have more than 1 decimal in your dividend. So just know that. You can only be 1 decimal. We've added it. So from this point moving forward, if you continue to have a remainder, you just keep adding a 0. Okay, 8 times 2 is 16. Okay, subtract. Still have a remainder. Keep adding the 0. 8 goes into 40 5 times. Know our facts. So at this point, 0. Okay, and our quotient is 8 and 125 thousandths. That is it. That is it. Okay. Easy peasy lemon squeezy.